Ladies and gentlemen, Gungans and droids, I don't know if I even have to say this. I feel like I'm going crazy. You might be like, you're already crazy. I know, but I feel like I'm going crazier. We're in the last bit of 2025. And in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes, I think a lot can maybe say it's been kind of a snoozy year. This is the most fun that I've had in Galaxy Heroes the entire year. And it's a ship. Usually ships are like the lowest, most boring part of the year. No, this thing blew my mind away. We're going to go over to Rebel B-Wing, show you the absolutely insanity performance this thing is putting out. Is it intended? Heck if I know. Heck if CJ knows. Maybe we'll find out. But during the initial character review, I'm like, it looks cool and all, but is it going to be able to compete with Leviathan, Profundity, Executors? Yeah. So I'm going to run you through the most important battle here in a moment with the Rebel B-Wing. But what I want to show you guys first, just kind of quickly, we did our initial testing stream yesterday. Big thanks to everyone who came out yesterday. Tons of fun. It's crazy to say that the ships have had more people coming out than the characters this year minus, of course, some legendaries and galactic legends, but pretty wild. These have been home run ships. Check this out. This is Rebel B-Wing with Home 1 full auto. This is what we're going to show against the big dog ships. Hey, look, turn 1, we're calling out B-Wing. Look at that, boom. This is, again, full auto. Look at this thing go. Master plan. Immediately. And look at all these back-to-back plays. And again, this is the auto doing its thing. It's kind of going all over the place. It's doing spray and pray. It's not doing it correctly. Even so, look at this. Kenobi's like, bro, can I get a turn? Oh, my gosh. Literally a 30-second blitz, and Kenobi just sat there watching his fleet get massacred on full auto. Dude, this is a lot of fun. And if you're someone that's like me, where usually ships are the lower part of the year, no. You need to get this. And I want to say this before we get into today's game, because you're like, oh, Arnold, you have a 6-star B-Wing. I want to make it clear, you don't need one. All this gameplay from this stream that I'm going to basically kind of regurgitate today, this was 3-star gameplay. Of course, there are a few assumptions I want you to make sure we understand. You know, we have a pretty decent Drogon, but I think a lot of people are going to have a Relic 7, 8, 9 Drogon, because Leia is the best all-around galactic legend in this game, and this guy is a galactic legend in and of himself. And also, the other thing to keep in mind is that my Ravensclaw is in a good spot. Ravensclaw has been largely ignorable this entire cycle it's been around until today. And if you're like my free-to-play count, I only have a 2-star Ravensclaw, and I was having a hard time making some of this work. And I also do have a high Relic Calcatarn, but as we're going to talk about, against the Hounds Tooth Executor lineup, a higher Relic Calcatarn could actually be a bit of a detriment. So, anyways, let's roll some battles here. I want to first just show you the absolute insanity fighting things like the Exec. And I'm going to show you the triple attacker lineup, which is infinitely easier, and the Hounds Tooth lineup, which took us a bit of time to kind of figure out a couple of tricks to navigate around, because Houndstooth, well, is kind of a jerk. Set that in. Let me show you what's going on. And these lineups that I'm putting together, they aren't like important units for like things like Profundity, the Executor, Negotiator. I mean, yeah, we got some funny little tricks, like, for example, Kylo Ren's command shuttle. But anyways, we'll talk about that in a moment. It's not too important for this triple attacker battle. So we got ourselves Cassian, got ourselves Biggs, and we got ourselves Ravensclaw. Look at his B-Wing, turn 1, able to call itself out as a reinforcement before the other team gets a turn. And I want you to watch this. Look, punishing one Executor, like, all right, I'm ready to go. Hold your horses. I'll say this, the only thing the Executor has that can maybe save it is all this evasion up. Otherwise, they're going to sit there and take a beating. So check this out. We're going to start up with some of this, and look at, we're already getting another turn, calling in master plan, and thank you, it's now my turn for the next 10 years. So we're just going to go ahead, hammer things home here. Sometimes it sucks when you don't have target lock first. It's sometimes random, it feels like, who's going to go first here. But again, keep hammering them away. We're going to hit him with one of these, and then we're going to hit him with another one of these. I mean, holy cow, this thing, absolute, let's see, that's what I'm saying. The only thing they kind of have working in their favor is a ton of evasion, but even so, we're getting the job done. And once the punishing one's gone, it's kind of game over at that point. I mean, we'll keep going just to kind of hammer the point home. All right, we can call in a reinforce. I mean, what do you guys want to bring? We got so many options here. How about this? Why don't we go ahead and make sure we get that buff dispel? That Xanadu blood over there. I don't know. Drop me some of this. Okay. And this guy's almost down for it in a second. It's okay. Hit him back. There we go. Hit him back. It's all good. Look at that protection up on that basic here. Boom. He's gone. And basically that, my friends, is GG's. So I will say this, I was so wrong at that initial carry. I'm like, oh, I don't know. It seems cool, right? All these bonus turns, but is this actually going to be useful for someone like, you know, me and Kyber, where it's like I'm always seeing Profundities, Executors, and Leviathans. Now, I will say it's not super helpful for Profundity and Leviathans, as we'll discuss, but this feels way better than using Tarkin or Windu's Endurance to fight this. So let's just take this to the bank. Yeah, I don't know. Just do some of that. They're going to call it Houndstooth. Oh, not even Houndstooth. Okay. Well, that works out for me, I suppose. Houndstooth is going to be the biggest annoyance factor, as we're going to discuss here in a moment. Let's go ahead. Another round of Master Plan in action here. And we'll probably call it a buff this spell because, yeah, that's the only thing that gets annoying. Sometimes these taunts are a little bit annoying. But the good news is Raven's Call allows you to ignore if you have Foresight. So how about this? Let's take a break off of the Razor Crest there. Or, sorry, off of the, what's it called? The Slave 1 over there. All right, just keep pumping these hits out. Boom, beautiful. Let's go do one of these. We have no Foresight on this guy here. Totally fine. The good news is we have a buff this spell that's coming around on the, what was it? I think that's Cassian right there, correct? Yeah, actually we already used it. So, all right, we got to do it the old-fashioned way. All right, now we can do this. Buff this spell. Excellent work. And let's go finish off the Razor Crest and basically, all right, they want to play ball a little bit longer. I admire that. I really do. All right, let's go ahead. Bring up Millennium Falcon, right. Command Shuttle is actually very helpful. I mean, of course, as we're going to say, very helpful for Finalize, but I'm not using Finalizer for much nowadays except for like cleanups on an Executor right after we get punishing one out. I mean, dude, we're just boom. So darn easy. And we had some mild inconveniences with the dodges and whatnot, but overall, super duper easy. Now, that's the easy lineup, right? That's nothing too much to brag about. I want to talk about the Houndstooth variant, which is infinitely more complicated. Well, because Houndstooth, well, this guy gets a crud ton of turn meter, right? Whenever another ally takes damage from an enemy attack and he's not taunting, so that's crazy. This ship came out in, what, 2017? To this day, this is one of the most relevant things ever. They did a great job, maybe too good of a job, letting Houndstooth be this meta viable for this long. I'm not complaining, but it's absolutely crazy. So that exact lineup I showed is a bit more complicated if we stayed with this right here. Well, this is where we get a little interesting with what we have available to us, because the biggest problem is Houndstooth is going to have tenacity. You can't get daze, you can't remove turn meter, and he's going to taunt, and then it's kind of complicated, right? Well, you got a few options. I want to show you the option that I'm going to use, and I'm going to make sure I explain the context after the battle, so you guys have the full entire picture. Resistance X-Wing, absolutely goated. And I took it the Relegate, and I'll explain that you don't need to. It's going to depend on the context of your situation, but the thing is, Resistance X-Wing is faster than Raven's Claw, which allows us to have X-Wing go out first. See that this is 174 versus 175, allows the Resistance X-Wing to get out there, pop this ability, and it's a guaranteed buff this spell, and daze, and turn meter removal. Holy cow. This was just kind of like a leftover reinforcing thing. This is a focal point of this lineup. And what I like about this, and I had to pinch myself, is like, is this CG in 2025? They always say, oh, you can't do mix and match. You can't do this. Look at this lineup. We got some Rebels, right? We got some Resistance stuff. We got cars. We got land. We got Command Shuttle. I am living in my 2016, 17 dreams whenever ships first came out. Absolutely staggering how insane this is here. So, all right, and there's a couple different ways. If you don't have Resistance X-Wing, as we'll discuss, although I know a lot of you guys bought a Lightspeed bundle that had that, so maybe it's not going to be as big of a deal, but let's just roll the battle. Let me show you what this looks like. The number one thing you got to keep in mind, save Houndstooth for last. He's a pain in the butt. He's super durable, but we're going to take care of business. So again, call out Rebel B-Wing. This is incredibly important. It took me like 5 million times to finally figure this out. Do not start with the AoE. It's going to give too much turn meter to Houndstooth. Instead, we're just going to do a basic. And the other problem is we do not want to give Foresight the Kyle Katarn, because then guess what? When Kyle Katarn gets Foresight, it's going to outrun the X-Wing here, the Resistance X-Wing. We need Resistance X-Wing to go first. As you can see, it's kind of tucked right behind that Razor Crest. We're just going to do basic. Over here, I'm going to try not to talk as much because this battle does take a moment. Pop the Master Plan already, and this is the money play. Boom. Hit him with one of those. Boom. Look at that. That is absolutely nuts. They have no turn meter. They have no more tenacity up. Nothing. And we're just going to hammer him home now. Hit him with another one of these. And then we're going to hit him with another one of these. And then let's see, we're going to get Cassian for the assist. And the good thing about this, too, Resistance X-Wing gets rid of that evasion up problem, too. So we're, like, basically guaranteed our hit. Whereas the previous lineup, yeah, but they would have dodged us once in a while. Absolutely nuts how this performed. And look at this. Houndstooth's just sitting there. And it's like, bro, what am I supposed to do right now? This is where Command Shuttle amazing. We get to control their turn meter when they're calling in reinforcements, and also gives me a way to ability block Hounds too, so he's not going to get that taunt up anytime soon. We're just going to keep working on that Razor Crest over there. Look at this. Save that buff this spell, because chances are this they have the Slave 1 and this Reinforce. They're going to call him out. We need to buff this spell. So for right now, we can just do this cleanse. Let's just do this. Pop that there. All right, so now Houndstooth, this is where Houndstooth's going to start being a little bit annoying with all this turn meter gain. So we're just going to still keep hammering away over here if possible. Save that buff the spell. We're going to need it here in a moment. Let's see if we can just do a basic for right now. And they probably will be calling, oh, it's Executor blood. Okay, totally fine. Now, check this out. Here's a few things we can do here. I can just keep pumping turn meter to my entire team. But you know what I'm going to do? Yeah, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's see if I can maybe pass over to X-Wing and see if I can reduce the cooldowns a bit. And check this out. Very nice. Very nice. Resistance X-Wing. Gosh, so many awesome bits to this fleet right now. Let's just see if we can just try to hammer it. Oh, the only thing that sucks is this stupid retribution, but it is what it is. Let's do one of these. All right. Let him hit me. We're fine. We have so much durability on us. And now that there's no taunt in our way, we can just do this. Boom. And almost down for the count. Gone like the wind. So there are so many goated characters, or ships, I should say, for this lineup between the command shuttle and this between the X-Wing. Dude, we're just holding down the line. Look at this. This guy's not going to get anything. Now, I think we're probably going to get a, what's it called? Let's save that days. We'll probably need it here in a moment. We're probably going to get, actually, this is looking good. This is looking really good. Very good. And that's game over. Straight up game over. Now you just got to kind of dance with him at the very end, which can kind of get annoying. Let's just do this right now. They're going to pop that. That's totally fine. But at this point, we took out all the important members. So you just got kind of deal with this 2 minutes, just kind of hammering him away. I'm just going to heal up the Resistance X-Wing. Let's just do that for right now. I do wish Akbar's sword attack was a little bit better. It's kind of, it feels a little bit lackluster. There we go. We got him right where we want him. And at this point, just throw it on auto. Just throw it on auto. It's going to take him up to kind of work today. Actually, and we have Boba Fett here. Let's see what I can do here. Let's see if we can maybe... All right, we don't have it ready yet. That's fine. We'll get around to it next turn. We should have other ways of buff the spelling here. And just do a swarm attack. All right, all right. Let's see. I just want to kind of show the point that Houndstooth is going to be a little bit annoying, but it's manageable. You just got to kind of work the money. There we go. Do a buff the spell over here. All right, there we go. Do we have foresight? We don't. Okay. All right, like the Executor's got nothing going for it right now, except this Houndstooth's just going to hold the line down. Sometimes Karth is nice to bring on this team another master plan. This feels better than Leviathan. I know technically Leviathan does more, right? It just does. But this still feels so darn better. Leviathan's just a slug of a fleet. Takes so darn long to get through it. Let's just do here. Can I just... Yeah, it's that. When we have that breach, it's really hard to work around that taunt here. Let's do another one of these. There we go. And again, worst case... There we go. Now we're moving things along here. Let's go ahead. Try to see if we can take out that Xanadu. My gosh. How about the third time's charm? The Slave 1. Again, all right, they want to bring another one out. Okay, bring out another one. Let's just go ahead, do one of these. Keep working on them. I mean, absolutely nuts how we're hammering this out. Probably if I wasn't jabbering as much, literally my biggest weakness in life, probably be able to get through as fast. As you see, look, we could definitely get through this with a little bit more time. But otherwise, I mean, they're kind of getting there. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, they'll get there slowly but surely. Another, how many, is that 20 bajillion master plans that I got here? Insane what this thing can do. And look at that. Even with my jabbering, we got the win. And that was fairly clean. That was fairly clean. So you might be like, all right, there's a few things I want to go over. So you might be like, all right, I don't want to, the Resistance X-Wing, I don't want to relegate it. This is the situation where having a Relic 8 Kyle Katarn kind of shoots me in the foot a little bit. A lot of you guys might not have Relic 8 Kyle Katarn. You might have him at Relic 5, right? You just kind of stayed at the minimum. I mean, of course, more Relics are better. Relic Delta around the corner, am I right? But the biggest thing is you need to make sure you find a ship that has a buff this spell, preferably a Daze on top, and a Resistance X-Wing fits the bill, and something irresistible. Literally, all three of those gets checked by the Resistance X-Wing. You got to make sure you find someone that's faster than your Raven's Claw, and just keep in mind as well, when you call in that B-Wing, just do basic, because if you get Foresight accidentally, it gives Raven's Claw 50 speed, and it messes up that opening turn order. So here are some alternatives, but I would say mess around if your X-Wing, especially if you have at Relic 5 with the Lightspeed bundle, and your Raven's Claw, for example, with a Relic 4 Resistance X-Wing. I just pulled my mods off Kyle Katarn, and it brought the ship speeds down. So you might have to do that, put some 6-stop mods on your X-Wing, remove mods from Kyle Katarn if you don't want to invest in any relics right now. But here are some other options, but these options, are kind of important options for other fleets out there. So an option number one here, the first thing that I actually thought of before moving to the X-Wing, Ahsoka Tano. Ahsoka Tano is incredibly fast, very good base speeds, easily going to outrun your Kyle Katarn at any relic level, essentially, allowing you to get the buff dispel on the Hound's Tooth, allowing you to hopefully then remove turn meter and, more importantly, get daze. The problem is this is a resistible ability, and sometimes you might not remove the turn meter, sometimes you might not land the daze, so kind of a bit of a problem. But it's an option if you don't want to do that. The Resistance X-Wing. Now you also have Ebon Hawk, another fairly fast ship that can get out before, well, the Raven's Claw. You can do the buff dispel. Same thing, you do the buff dispel, you then open up the opportunity for Raven's Claw to then again drop in the daze, hopefully remove turn. But again, you still have the problem where Houndstooth could resist it, adding way too much RNG. And there are probably some other things you could try out there, but honestly, again, Resistance X-Wing is so darn good. It fits all the checkboxes to make this work. It literally has a buff dispel, turn meter removal, and daze, all which can't be evaded or resisted. It controls that Houndstooth immediately, and even more importantly, it's able to drop the buff dispel on the punishing one, and daze too, I guess, to get rid of the evasion up, so there's like no dodge chance, essentially. Of course, there's always that slight chance, but otherwise, I love this fleet. You might be asking, all right, well, what about Leviathan? What about Profundities? Well, the problem is Leviathan recently got buffed where you can't assist, and that's kind of a problem. And also, there's daze problems, which prevents the turn meter, right? So it seems like if this could work, it's going to get nerfed immediately, especially if CG's having a problem with Rogue One and the Profundity beating it. It would get nerfed pretty quickly, but it doesn't seem to be nearly as good, because you can't assist and you can't really get turn meter. Now, you might be also asking, what about the Profundity? A similar problem. The Profundity, well, shuts down the turn meter, right? And the biggest problem that you're going to have, well, the Akbar fleet is very turn meter heavy. Now, of course, there's a bonus turn that the B-Wing grants, right? That's good, but the problem is you need to have Master Plan do its magic. And when you use that Master Plan, well, you can't get 100% turn meter. And then when you use Master Plan, you're supposed to get another 100% turn meter, but you can't. So I don't see this really working against Profundity. It shuts all that down, but I would be blown away. I would love if that's the case. And actually, quick note, as I'm recording and editing this video, I came across this post from Gerbil, and he showed that it might be possible for this to even beat Profundity. Instead of calling out the B-Wing turn 1 reinforcement, well, bring out the TIE Bomber. Another one of those god tier ships that stood the test of time. So, hey, this is even better than I anticipated yet again. But for me personally, I'm in a good spot with my Profundity. I can beat that. I got, now this frees up, for example, if I'm using this versus Executor, it frees up Tarkin and my TIE Bomber. Cool, we're in a good spot. I can still use my Windu versus Leviathan. Everyone's got a bit of a different strategy, but that's my worst case scenario if I'm fighting all big 3 capital ships. I love this fleet. Scott, look at all these just wild units that we have plugged in here. So much mixing and matching. No synergy really being broken up here. And it's so much fun. It's like, holy cow. It's like they did it. Again, if this is intended by CG, they did a great job making a fleet that makes me feel incredibly powerful, but still balanced where it's not punching up into maybe Profundities and Leviathans, which they're trying to make, again, the upper echelon of the fleet meta, and Executor's now firmly number 3, where I thought Executor a month ago was number 1, and now, well, it's number 3. Still good, right? Absolutely amazing. Hopefully this is all intended, and even if you don't have to fight Executors and all that, I think this is going to be very helpful. You saw it on Auto versus Negotiator. What if someone's throwing a Negotiator thinking, oh, this is easy, and their whole fleet gets obliterated in seconds? Yeah. Pretty darn insane. So I'm going to give CG massive props on this. I thought the Rogue One was the best thing all year. No, this is it. This is it. Assuming they don't have issues like with Rogue One, they might nerf it. But anyways, I digress. Props to CG. Tons of fun seeing this here. And I look forward to using this in Grand Arena. And I hope that these little tips can help you out, knock out those Executors in the most budget-friendly manner in a long time, since the days of the Finalizer. Leave that like, comment down below, subscribe, so you're not missing a thing. And always remember, it's great to be in the Empire today.
It's great to be